House of Nightmares, a horror tale. In a remote forest, shrouded by ancient trees and thick mist, stood a sinister mansion known as the House of Nightmares. This eerie structure had been the subject of countless local legends, each one more terrifying than the last. But for 5 ambitious ghost hunters, James, Colin, Dave, Emily, and Sarah, these stories were nothing more than tales waiting to be debunked. Determined to uncover the truth, they made an appointment with the house's mysterious owner, Madame Azrael. The next day the group arrived at the edge of the woods, where the mansion loomed, dark and foreboding. Madame Azrael, a woman with long, dark hair and piercing eyes, greeted them at the front door. Her presence was unsettling, her smile cold as she handed James the keys. "Make sure to lock up when you leave," she said in a tone that sent chills down their spines. The group nodded, eager to begin their investigation, and Madame Azrael vanished into the shadows as quickly as she had appeared. Inside the mansion, the air was thick with an unshakable sense of dread. The group set up their paranormal equipment in the living room, discussing the legends surrounding the house. "Locals say it's cursed, but there's no record of how it got its evil name," Sarah noted. "Well, we've been here for hours and nothing's happened," James grumbled, disappointed. "Not even any weird sounds," Colin added, yawning. "I'm going to bed," Emily sighed. "It's late." "Me too," Sarah agreed. The 2 girls retreated to their room, while James, Colin, and Dave took the one across the hall. They left the cameras and sound recorders running, hoping to capture something while they slept. As Emily drifted into a deep sleep, she suddenly awoke with an unexplainable thirst. Groggily, she got up and made her way down the dark hallway. Midway, she froze. There, standing in the shadows, was Madame Azrael. "What are you doing here?" Emily asked, her voice trembling. "I'm here to kill you," Madame Azrael replied, her voice dripping with malice. Before Emily could react, Madame Azrael lunged at her, plunging a knife into her chest repeatedly, leaving Emily's lifeless, blood-soaked body sprawled on the floor. James awoke to a loud knock at the door. Groggy and disoriented, he stumbled to open it, only to find Madame Azrael staring at him with dead, cold eyes. "Who?" he began, but she cut him off by dragging him into the hallway and viciously stabbing him to death. His blood mingled with Emily's, forming a gruesome trail. Dave was next. He awoke with a start and headed down the hall to the bathroom, but as he turned a corner, there stood Madame Azrael, her knife gleaming in the dim light. "I didn't know you'd be here." "And why do you have that knife?" Dave stammered. "I'm here to take your life," she hissed. Dave turned to run, but Madame Azrael was too fast. She drove the knife into his back repeatedly, leaving his mutilated body to join the others. Sarah awoke in her bed, cold sweat clinging to her skin. She gasped as she saw Madame Azrael standing at the foot of her bed. "There's something you need to see," the woman whispered, beckoning her into the hallway. Terrified, Sarah followed her, and the horrific sight of her friends' bodies splayed out on the floor greeted her. "What happened to them? Who could have done this?" Sarah cried, backing away. Madame Azrael smiled wickedly. "I killed them. And now, it's your turn." With those words, Madame Azrael stabbed Sarah repeatedly, her laughter echoing in the hallway as Sarah's lifeless body crumpled to the floor. The next morning, Colin woke up with a start, drenched in sweat. His heart raced as he bolted upright and looked around the room. To his shock, James, Dave, and the girls were all there, each one gasping for breath, their faces pale. "We all had the same nightmare," Colin said, his voice trembling. "I kept hearing you all screaming in your sleep." They hurriedly packed up their equipment, eager to leave the cursed house behind. As they made their way to the van, Colin turned to the others. "I figured it out. It's called the House of Nightmares because when you fall asleep, it gives you the most terrifying nightmares imaginable." "So we proved the legend is true," Sarah whispered, her voice shaking. "This house really is cursed." They glanced back at the mansion one last time. In the upper window they saw Madame Azrael, holding a large blood-stained knife, her eyes fixed on them. "Go, Colin, go!" they screamed as they scrambled into the van, desperate to escape the house of nightmares. As they sped away, they couldn't shake the feeling that the house would forever haunt their dreams, and perhaps their reality. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more spine-tingling tales.